Now, I want to say about the Duck Dynasty guy, I want to stick up for him, okay? A lot of people are going crazy over this thing that he said about his weird, violent rape fantasy on atheists. It's not a threat. I will defend this speech entirely. He doesn't say this is what should be done to atheists. He is doing a hypothetical, a thought experiment, the same kind of thing I have done a zillion times. Okay? I have spoken about my feeling of morality, and I have used killing as an example in that. And when I use it, it's not a threat. And when Phil, whatever his name is, Robertson uses this as a threat, it's not a threat.
Right.
He's not saying this should happen to atheists. He's not saying atheists deserve this. Right. He is not saying do this to atheists. He is not saying I will do this to atheists. None of that is included in this whatsoever. This is a thought experiment about morality. But to give you an idea of how Phil Robertson thinks about morality, let's read what he said.
Okay. He said, I'll make a bet with you. 2 guys break into an atheist home. He has a little atheist wife and 2 little atheist daughters. 2 guys break into his home, tie him in a chair, and gag him, and then they take his 2 daughters in front of him and rape both of them and then shoot them. And they take his wife and they decapitate her head off in front of him.
Aristocrats.
And then they can look at him and say, isn't it great I don't have to worry about being judged? Isn't it great that there's nothing wrong with us? There's no right or wrong. Now is it, dude? Robertson kept going. Then you take a sharp knife and take his manhood and hold it in front of him and say, wouldn't it be something if this was something wrong with this? And I'm reading that verbatim. That's not me misspeaking. But you're the one who says there is no God, there's no right, there's no wrong. We're just having fun. We're sick in the head. Have a nice day. If it happened to them, they'd probably say something about this just ain't right.
Yeah. And that is, by the way, the perfect atheist argument that he just said.
Yeah.
He absolutely made the exact same point that I made. Now, that is not my fantasy, but it is very clearly Sam Harris's and Richard Dawkins' argument about morality. He bets if he did that the atheist would sit there and say, something about that ain't right. Damn fucking straight, motherfucker, because morality is not attached to God. I have not heard, I'm not going to say this because I just wanted to do an apology next week. There may be atheists who say that there is no right and wrong. I don't truck with them. I don't know them. I don't follow them that much. But I know that there are nihilists who say there's no God and there's no right and wrong. I'm not one of them. I believe that morality is greater than God and that all religious people know it. And what Phil Robertson has said there very clearly is that there is a right and wrong beyond God. He is saying that an atheist, an absolute atheist who knows there's no God, will know that what just happened was wrong. And therefore, he has defeated his whole argument right in what he said. With all his fucking bullshit, fake, countrified way of speaking, which I don't believe for a second.
Right.
All that jive, he comes around and makes the exact same argument I make, which is anyone who has said the sentence, God is good, has made the argument that there is a morality beyond God. Unless, of course, your argument is no matter what God says, it is automatically good, in which case those words mean nothing. You got that?
Yeah.
I'm saying that clearly, right?
Absolutely. You know, it's funny. I laugh because every time I kind of know what's going to be on Slate for Penn Sunday School, or at least anticipate it, and I read this and I was very upset. Uh-huh. And I also know that every time I sit down with you, you're going to say something in a way that makes you go like, oh, yeah. and it's always going to be different than what I thought you were going to say. And you're absolutely right. The last sentence of his thing turns his whole argument inside out of what people believe his intention is. But you're right. He argues that atheists without God know right from wrong.
Absolutely.
That's his argument.
His argument is atheists don't need God to tell right from wrong.
I got to tell you, I read this, and I guess I'm so steamed before I get to his final sentence. I'm so steamed important because here's the thing: is that I'm a straight white male. I don't experience blind prejudice very often. In fact, even living in Harlem, I was called a cracker to my face by an angry black man, and I almost laughed it off because I was like, that's not what prejudice feels like. That's not what that's not what minorities...
No, you're winning.
Yeah. I'm like,
winning.
that's not... Minorities hear this in a way that's awful, and there's no equivalent that could make me feel awful that way.
No, and you also know at that second that it's a story.
Yeah.
And any African-American person in this country... The discrimination and racial prejudice that they experience is never a story because it is constant.
Right.
It is like a fish commenting on water.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it is prevalent. It is in our society. We did slavery in this country, and we fucked up beyond belief. And we cannot fucking get out of that, you know?
Yeah.
We cannot fucking get out of that, and we're all trying. We're all really, really trying,
Yeah.
but there's dangerous shit. Yes, we do not experience discrimination at all.
No, I mean, not in any kind of comparable way. So this was the first time that I was actually, felt blindsided.
But and I use this term very, very, in a very slender definition.
Yeah.
His intellectual argument is perfect.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
This guy is atheist. He knows there's no God. He's watching atrocities. He knows that they're wrong.
Yep.
Bingo. I would also say that same atheist who goes in and says that there's no God also can listen to a man who is on TV and who has a following, speaking in front of people, doing a fantasy of raping underage children. That concerns rape of underage children, and say, you know, this is wrong. Now, that's my argument. My argument for this is that Duck Dynasty guy simply is not wrong. His moral argument is perfect. Not well stated.
No.
Very badly made. Very, very sloppy. But it is true that somewhere in his little fucking ant brain, he has some understanding that morality is greater than God. And that is my whole argument when I've made the case many times that people who say, if you don't believe in God, if I didn't believe in God, what stops me from raping and killing everybody I want to?
Right.
And the answer is I have raped and killed everybody I want to, and the number is 0. Right. I want to rape and kill no one because it's morally wrong. And being an atheist does not mean not having morality. Being an atheist means having morality. Because if you are doing something for reward or punishment, it is not morality. Okay? It is fear or it is greed, but it is not morality. When we're raising children, we want to raise our children not to say, I don't want to do this because I'll be caught. You want to raise them to say, I do not want to do this because it is wrong. You know, if I find a way to torture an animal and not get caught, that doesn't mean I still do it. Now, religious people are always making the argument that if I found a way to do this and not get caught, I would do it because I want everlasting life, which, by the way, the definition of greed, if we need a definition of greed, it is not the Koch brothers. The Koch brothers are minor players when it comes to greed. When someone's saying, I want to drink the blood of Christ and live forever and sit at his right hand in paradise for the rest of fucking eternity. I'm telling you, this is not going to the Rio all-you-can-eat buffet and taking 15 slices of roast beef. This is a whole different... This is not
my personal definition of heaven, by the way.
This is not going and taking just crab legs and shrimp and nothing else.
Yeah.
You know, this is not going to the salad bar and filling up on sunflower seeds.
Right.
This is a real kind of greed that we can't even imagine.